Today, Amtrak is canceling more of its long-distance routes ahead of a possible nationwide rail workers strike. We have been reporting that as many as 115,000 workers could walk off the job as soon as Friday. Contract negotiations have stalled between unions and some of the largest freight rail companies in the country. Alex Caprariello is live with a look at how this could impact the entire economy. Good morning, Alex.
Mitch, good morning. Early reports indicate that U.S. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh will be meeting with both sides, the unions and the railroad, to try to broker this deal. The Biden administration is working hard to prevent what would be the first major national railroad strike in about 30 years. But if they fail, then the U.S. would see a complete and total shutdown of both freight and passenger trains this Friday.
Developing overnight, Washington is scrambling to prevent a looming railroad strike across America. The White House urging both sides to settle their differences now.
The shutdown is not acceptable. That is not something that we want. It risks harming families. It risks harming businesses and whole communities. And we have made that clear empathetically and repeatedly to both parties.
9 of the 12 unions have reached tentative agreements for better wages and working conditions, but all 12 must reach consensus to avoid a strike. The big holdouts? Conductors and engineers, who represent roughly half of the more than 100,000 unionized workers at the nation's major freight railroads. If the two sides don't reach an agreement by Friday, Congress would have to step in to block a strike. With 140,000 miles of track stretching from coast to coast, approximately 30% of the nation's freight travels by rail each year. A strike would disrupt the movement of food, consumer goods, gasoline, and car supplies. Right now, passengers are already facing disruptions. Amtrak has canceled its routes from Chicago to the West Coast, and beginning today, will stop running its routes to New Orleans and Texas.
It would impact me a lot if the Amtrak is not running.
My hope is that the two unions who are holding out will make some compromises.
And a growing number of businesses are lobbying Congress to step in and block this strike from happening. However, congressional leaders are hoping that's an absolute last resort. Mitch?
That is Alex Caprariello reporting live, and right now we're going to bring in Rachel Premack with more information on this potential railway strike. She's an editorial director for FreightWaves and a writer for Modes. Both publications supply information about the supply chain industry, and she is live with us today. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So if railroad workers go on strike this Friday, what do you think it'll do to our supply chain?
Yeah, so rail is such a crucial part of our supply chain that it would have really monumental effects, especially if the strike lasts for more than a day or two. So we see rail as a really core element of moving the sort of key industrial goods that maybe consumers don't think about day to day, but are really important to our livelihood. So let's think about the chemicals that are used to, clean plants or to ensure that crops are safe to eat. Those move by rail. The crops that we eat to use in bread or even to feed cows and cattle, that's moved by rail. There are all these sort of early stage parts of our economy that are moved by rail, as well as imports from the ports and other sort of more consumer goods. So it would have pretty market effects on what we can buy and what is available in stores.
So the White House is asking truckers and air shipment companies, air freight, to get ready if this shutdown happens. But do we even have the infrastructure to be able to cover the gaps while this strike takes place?
No, truck and air freight are both very useful for higher value goods or more precise sort of movements, but rail can just carry so much more than what's possible by inland water transport or truck, and especially air freight, which is the most expensive, as you can imagine. So it is, shippers are really hoping, folks in the energy and agriculture sector are really hoping that we can avoid a strike like this, because they would not be able to really move goods affordably and through their normal systems without rail.
It's been 30 years since the last rail strike. It was 1992. That lasted 2 days. It required federal intervention. It sounds like this next strike, whether it comes or not, has kind of been a long time coming. So why now, and why could this not have been prevented earlier?
Yeah, so these unions have been in negotiation with their employers since January of 2020, and the labor issues even predate COVID. So basically, every sort of stopgap that could be used to prevent a strike like this have failed. We were even expecting a strike in July, just a few months ago, but President Biden did step in, appoint a presidential emergency board. But negotiations have obviously failed since then. And as early as Friday at 12:01, we could see a nationwide strike, and the first one, as you mentioned, in almost 30 years.
All right, that is Rachel Premack. She writes for FreightWaves, and we were talking to her about the railway strike. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.